Good morning, everybody. I hope you are all well and you've had a good week this week. What a week it's been, hey. So I thought today I'd talk about something called Ishvara Pranidhara, and it's Pranidhana, sorry. And this is one of the jewels within the Patanjali Sutras, and it basically talks about surrender. It's asking you to jump into your life with your whole heart and place your trust in the divine. So surrender. We need to surrender to so much stuff, don't we, really? From surrendering to the current pandemic that we're under, surrendering to the fact that we, some of us can't work, like myself, actually surrendering to allowing things to be, surrendering to your vulnerabilities, surrendering to the seasons, surrendering to any form of new chapters in your life at this point in time, surrendering to your passions and surrendering to your heart. And for all of those things, being an active participant in every part of it, in every part of your life. So we all have, I had a particular thing where I can feel that my energy levels, I'm sure you all do, where your energy levels change. But sometimes you don't always connect with it, you don't always realise it. And actually, making yourself step back, looking at the decisions and thought habits that you end up having that kind of almost come over you. They come over you without you even realising that they're there. You end up not really being in the moment as an adult. You end up going back into old thought processes and old habits. So really, your ego kind of takes over as a result. So it's about being totally present and fluid with each moment and surrendering your ego, surrendering how you feel. And actually, even if you can't surrender to it, at least recognise it. Recognise the habits and thought processes that are going on for you, even though you're saying the same things each time, because at some point that will start to change. And then you can start to open your heart more, start to become honest, have an honest relationship with your heart and your mind. So, we have times where we're really caught up in things. We're caught up in the moment with an activity or a scene that, that really, or a scenario that just really lines you up with your heart, really lines you up with your thought processes and your actions. And it feels good, doesn't it? It feels harmonious. You can almost feel your heart expanding and coming out of your chest the whole time. It's a wonderful feeling. So remember those feelings, and right at that very point in time, you've surrendered your heart. There are no barriers. There's nothing protecting you. You just flow with it. And really, the idea is to take advantage of the immense, certain and always available good fortune of every moment, because every moment is a jewel. Every moment that we're given in life is precious, and if we treat it as such, and treat it with fresh eyes each time, again, it sounds idealistic, but actually living in the moment is basically the only thing that you can change. You have things that come in from your past that obviously influence that. You have things from your future that will be an influence on how you respond. But actually taking the time to be present and surrendering to that moment and seeing what that moment is asking of you, just releases that rigidity. And in our head to kind of control the moment. You just allow that fluidity to come through. So by getting rid of this mind armour and this body armour, and all the control, actually. It just opens up a world for you to have a different perspective. And as a result, it feels lighter. There's nothing you have to do because you've always done it, because you can look at things with a fresh light. And then you're surrendering to each moment. And as you do, you can feel yourself expand. As I say, your heart expands, everything starts to expand, and people can see it within you as well. I've got a quote here which I really like, and it says, "Life is like a flowing stream, and we are ice chunks in it. We are the same quality, but frozen in our tensions and fears. Yoga practice is to melt ourselves into the flow of the stream, becoming one with the flow of life." Isn't that lovely? We are all the same. So relax and release those rigid thought processes. Can you recognise those tensions and fears within you, and are they binding you? Can you surrender to them and allow yourself to flow with life instead, and begin to act skillfully with each moment that presents? Savasana, or the relaxation at the end of a traditional practice that I do, there is nothing to do, and it's possibly one of the hardest poses, but people's favourites, because it's there for you to, you literally don't have to do anything apart from breathe and relax and release thoughts, allow them to flow, release tension. It's that letting go of any effort whatsoever, surrendering yourself right to that point in time and trusting that the breath will come. So things to do with regards to surrender is to release all preconceptions, any thought processes that you feel that you've brought along that actually colour that moment. Can you release them? Can you engage in the moment and meet each moment skillfully and with thought and care and openness, and making yourself available to that moment as well? And then also accept. You know, pay attention to the needs of that moment and become skillful in recognising its own and your own development and direction as a result of that, and give yourself time to flow. Just simply letting go and receive each moment with an open heart, and then just dance with it skillfully. Allow the ego to surrender, and as the ego surrenders, you'll find that the heart will expand as a result of that. And everything loses its edges. So with early summer that we're in at the minute, we're releasing old patterns. We're trying to release any physical or mental old patterns and connections. And if you remember from last week, I think it was, I was talking about connections of the fascial tissue, of the connective tissue, and also the connective tissue and the fact that it's connected with your thought processes as well. And both of those together have produced a pattern within your body that creates a sore knee, limited movement in your knee, limited movement in your hip, limited movement in your ability to be allowed to get your arms back, whatever it might be. These are fascial connections and fascial and thought processes that have bound us together. But if we can start to meet each moment that we have with clarity and surrender skillfully to that moment and see what that moment actually requires, we start to release these old patterns and look at everything anew. You also need to recognise when you need to be open and when you need to protect yourself. At this time of the year, again, we're looking at things to open and close. And so it's recognising that moment for what it is and skillfully understanding the needs of that person or that scenario. And avoiding the extremes in life, just flow. I know when you can be, you can give all of yourself to something or nothing to something, and actually both ends, both extremes, you end up missing out the kind of balance in the middle, because actually you need to understand your own needs, but not to the point where you close yourself off. But you also need to understand other people's needs, but also include your own as a result of that. And then find a way to rebalance yourself as a result of that, through meditation, through yoga, through going for a walk, doing just something that you know, as I said before, fills your heart, allows you to express yourself physically, spiritually and mentally. Today I want you to flow through your poses. Lead with your heart, lead with passion, and then see where that leads you this week. Okay, have an amazing week, and I hope you surrender to everything that comes in your path. Okay, see you next time.